What's up, guys? It's Girl Hands or Brimley's Beatus or whatever gamer tag you know me by. It's the worst of times because you might notice that my audio is not syncing up with the video, and that's because this is recorded after the fact. This is not live commentary. Unfortunately, when LBS joined into this game, my cap card crapped out on me. It didn't record any of his audio throughout the entire series that we played together. And it had nothing to do with how I configured anything. No, it's just my cap card kind of screws up at times. I've had this happen to me in the past where it records everybody's Xbox Live audio, and then halfway through the session, I don't change anything, that it just stops. I think there's a couple videos in the past where the audio and the visuals don't sync up correctly. Again, that's got nothing to do with my video editing software. It's just the cap card not working. And if I want it to work, I have to resync everything over again. So yeah, there have been some issues with the cap card. I'm still happy with it, though. I've had it for over a year and a half now. I know some people have had their cap cards for like 6 months, and then it just completely dies on them, and they have to get a new one. So, I mean, I've had this thing for over, like I said, over a year and a half. I use it all the time, and those two issues are the only real problems I have, and it only really happens if I've recorded it over long periods of time. So when I was done playing with LBS, I checked the video, noticed that everything was kind of screwed up. And I knew from then on, if I wanted to get guests to play with me during this Road to Commander series, that instead of relying on the cap card, I was going to use Skype. So I do have guests later on in the series, and we use Skype. I think the audio quality is much better, and you don't have to worry about having any type of audio issues whatsoever. So yeah, I'm sorry, LBS. It sucks that had to happen, but I didn't want to... I mean, I can play the commentary from these, but it just sounds really strange. I'm talking to myself this entire series, but this is like a one-sided conversation because you have no idea what LBS is saying. So I decided instead of just putting up the normal live commentary, I would do some post-game commentary. And it's been a while since I've done any type of post-game commentary. So what I decided to talk about today, I was actually watching some Weeds. I think it's a show on Showtime. I don't know where it comes from, but I watched it on Netflix. Absolutely love that show. It's freaking hilarious. It's kind of like a dark comedy. It's about a lady who sells drugs to kind of support her family. It's a really funny show. I really enjoyed it, especially the first 3 seasons. It was really well done in the first 3 seasons. And then after that, after the 3rd season, I kind of felt like the writers wanted it to end there. But the show was so popular that they didn't. They kept going. And now it's up to season 7 or 8. I think it's ending on season 8. But seasons 4 through 6 were horrible. I just absolutely hated them. Season 7 was pretty good, but still nowhere near the quality of seasons 1 through 3. And it just kind of sucks because the show was really at its prime back then. And because of its success, they just kept going. I mean, obviously, financially, it's a good idea. You're going to have more people buying, DVDs and stuff like that, and it's going to do well financially, and fans want to see more of the show. But it just honestly was nowhere near the quality that it once was. And I really hate when I see stuff like that. Like, I'm trying to think of other shows that do that. Heroes. That show was absolutely amazing in its first season, and season 2 wasn't as good, but it still was okay. But Heroes, they just drove it into the ground. I stopped watching it after season 2, honestly, but I think that show lasted for 5 or 6 seasons, and it just kept getting worse and worse. And I just kind of wish it ended on a high note, because season 1 of that TV show is absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend going and checking it out. Mad Men, it's another show I actually like, and I liked last season, but I do feel like it should wrap up here soon. I feel like it is kind of running out of steam. There's only so many stories you can cover, and again, it's kind of running its course. What's another show that I like? How I Met Your Mother. I actually don't watch much TV, but these are the few shows I do watch, and that's another show that, God, they just need to wrap that thing up. I know people love it. I know it's real popular on CBS, but it needs to end. A show that's doing a good job. It's been really done very, very well, and they're ending it on a high note, is Breaking Bad. That show is amazing, and they're ending it after 5 seasons. I know they're breaking up the 5th season into 2 long parts, but they're not dragging it on. They're not continuing it on well past its prime. And I love it when TV shows actually do that. I love it when they cut things a little shorter. They end it on a high note, because I feel like it kind of ruins the overall experience when they drag it on way too far. If you have a story, if you have a complete story in your mind, then tell it. And once you reach that end point, no matter how successful it is, I mean, if you really don't have new ideas, or if you don't have anything else to truly add to the story, then I wish people would just stop it. I'm sure a lot of Star Wars fans would appreciate if that's how they approach Star Wars and they didn't make the prequels. So yeah, that's kind of a pet peeve of mine, is whenever you take something that has really good quality in the beginning and it just kind of runs out of steam. And a lot of times you can tell, when the story could have very easily ended, but because of its success, they continue to go on. Another example, it doesn't just apply to TV, but I mean, you can kind of apply it to video games as well. I think, especially Call of Duty. I mean, Call of Duty 4, like the amount of innovation that came into Call of Duty 4 between COD 2 and COD 4 was for me, it was pretty staggering. It was awesome. It's the reason the game franchise became as popular as it did. But they just keep going, and they keep going. And from a business standpoint, I can understand. I mean, if I was the CEO of Activision, it's like printing money. I wouldn't tell them to stop. But from kind of a hardcore fan standpoint, I just don't see that much more innovation. I don't see, because of the game cycle where the developers have like a year and a half, maybe close to 2 years to try to make a new game. You just don't have the opportunity necessary to, at least in my opinion, make a truly unique, fleshed out game. I just feel like it's the same experience over and over again. That's why I'm not really all that excited for Black Ops 2. I love Black Ops, don't get me wrong. I think it's a great game, and I'm sure Black Ops 2 will be a lot of fun. But I just don't have any excitement at all for this series, good or bad. I mean, I'm not trying to bash it at all. It's just, it feels like it's being run through the ground. It just feels like there's nothing truly new, anything groundbreaking with it. I don't really know what to do. Honestly, I wish they would extend out the time between games much, much further, to really have people sit down and think of new ways to make it fresh and interesting. But I guess that's just not going to happen. So yeah, no, I mean, it's not. I don't really have much to talk about, guys. So that's just one of the little pet peeves of mine, is whenever you take something that has a lot of quality and that just burn it to the ground, essentially. I think they do that in movies sometimes too. Like whenever you get like a movie trilogy or something like that. Like, well, I already said Star Wars before. I guess you can kind of say Spider-Man kind of did that. Although with Spider-Man 3, if you guys don't know, Sam Raimi, he didn't want Venom in that movie. He just wanted to do Sandman, but Sony thought it was for the best to bring in Venom because he was such a popular villain. So, yeah, that's my little rant about crappy movies and burning things to the ground. But you don't have to worry about my commentaries too long, guys. There's only 2 more videos of this, and that will be it. So yeah, sorry about the audio messing up. I promise, after this little session right here, it won't happen again. But I hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. And like always, my trademark sign off, take it easy.